Hey tribe, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. Merry Christmas Eve! I wasn't going to make this video. Actually, I didn't think I was going to have the thing that I wanted to be able to make this video on Christmas Eve, but I'm going to share with you my Christmas presents to me, because who doesn't want to have their own very Merry Christmas? Before we roll the intro and get right into that, I want you to really understand how much I appreciate all your support on my channel, watching my videos, commenting, likes, so on and so forth. Man, we have got some cool stuff that I'm working on for the new year. I'm really excited about, and I hope you will be too. Big thank you to my channel members. And without further ado, let's roll the intro and then I'll tell you what we got going on.
Wake up with the sun in our eyes. Sally forth, no need for goodbyes. Journey calls, let's roll the dice. Every mile a new surprise.
All right, so Merry Christmas Eve. You can see I'm sitting here next to a big box, and I'm not sure if you can tell what's in this box or not yet from what you're seeing. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about this and why we got here. I guess I can't move it over too far. Yep, this is it. It's a Bluetti. I have resisted the urge for many, many, many years. Let me show you what this is going to be replacing. Can we see it? Yeah. This is the only power station I have ever had. This is a Jackery. Does it even have a number on it? Explorer 240. It's actually pretty heavy. I'm going to weigh this. Actually, I'll put it up on the screen. It has two USB-A ports. It has one, regular 120 volt outlet. It's got a 12 volt outlet. And it's got, the dedicated input. So, that's what we got. The problem is, it's great for charging the phone and my watch overnight, which is really pretty much all I had ever used it for. And big shout out to Johnny at Johnny's Journey, Midwest Van Builders. She was visiting with me last year while I was still in Ironwood, like immediately after I broke my foot. And then graciously put a 12 volt outlet for a USB plug in my bedroom, so I no longer needed to use this to be able to charge my phone and my watch overnight, which was a huge convenience maker for me. And I kept saying to myself, I don't really need a Bluetti. I don't need a big power station of any sort. It's really not important. And in many ways, it isn't important. In many ways, I've got plenty of redundancy. I have a big solar and lithium system that I paid to have installed. And so basically, my house works as if I were living in a house. I have a 3,000 watt inverter. Every plug in my RV is energized all the time. I'm not bragging, guys. I'm explaining. And I want to be clear about that. I chose to do my RV life this way. But what I've discovered over the past year or so is if I had it to do over again and I was paying the boat myself as I did this time, I might just do Bluettis. Might do a couple of different ones and call it good. Is it as important to have every outlet in the RV be energized as it is to be able to have power that's available where I want to have it? And so that's partly how we got to this point. The real way we got to this point was when I was having all those electrical problems last summer and I was traveling with Barb. Barb has an EcoFlow that's an 800 watt standard 20-something watt surge power bank. I can't call it a solar generator. It does not generate solar, first of all. It will accept solar and charge the battery. It is not a solar generator. It is a power bank with a bunch of outlets and a built-in inverter. That's what it is. Let's be honest about it, right? So, what happened was, while I was having all of these power issues last summer and I was dead in the water because nothing was working, Barb lent me her EcoFlow. And so I was able to keep my laptop charged and I was able to keep my batteries for my phone and so forth charged up. I apologize. We have a group text in camp and everybody keeps texting. And I forgot to hit do not disturb before I started running the camera. So my apologies. And, Merry Christmas to everybody in camp too. Anyway, so after Barb lent me her EcoFlow, for a couple of days while we were trying to get stuff sorted out, I started thinking about how useful that really was. And then I saw, here's another shout out for you, Carolyn at Carolyn's RV Life did a review on a Bluetti Elite 100 V2, which is actually what I decided to buy many months ago at this point. And I looked at it and I thought, you know, I think if I were going to do this, that's probably what I would do. So I decided to go ahead and do it. And primarily, I did it for a couple of different reasons, one of which we're going to talk about, which is another Christmas present as we get to the end of this video. But the biggest reason I did it is I want a backup plan for my backup plan. So for me, plenty of solar, plenty of lithium. My backup plan is I can run the generator if I really need more power for anything. And then my backup plan for my backup plan is going to be this guy right here. So let's get it open and take a look at it so you can see what's going on. And I will say, first of all, I love the fact that this is lightweight enough that I can put it on my plastic folding table and I'm not concerned about breaking my table. Having said that, I will also say that I looked up the weight capacity on my table before I decided to do this. And this is a 19 by 30 inch Lifetime brand folding table that I got at Costco. And just so you know, it says the weight capacity is 100 pounds. So there you go. All right. Please keep this box for product return or warranty service. And I know, based on another friend here in camp, that it had a problem with the Bluetti and did not have the original box, that it's important to keep that. So, that friend, who has a pickup truck, said that I can store the packaging in her pickup truck until I decide that everything is working properly and, you know, I don't have any issues. So, we got a big piece of foam here, and basically, this seems to be pretty easy. Let's get the box out of the way. All right, here we go. Ta-da! All right, this is pretty compact and pretty lightweight. And part of the reason that I chose this one is for that reason. And I think, where's the, oh, I guess this must be the charging cord. Yeah, so here's the charging cord. Oh, I guess it comes with solar? It didn't say it did. I didn't order the one that came with solar. That's interesting. Good. So this is the solar charger, XT60 plug. This is the AC charge cord that plugs into a regular outlet. I didn't realize I was getting both of them, but hey, there you go. And I have ordered separately a 12-volt cord to be able to plug into the vehicle when I'm driving, because I figure on a long driving day, that'll work really well to be able to keep this charged. So what we've got is the 12-volt input, the XT60 plug there. Those are the ones that kind of orange-yellow color looking. And we've got a DC output 12-volt cord plug. We've got 12-volt 8-amp. These are the ones that kind of like look like barrel connectors. That was a very strange motion, sorry. Let's see what else we got. I can't really see this. So we got power, we got DC, we got AC. We have 4 120 outlets. We've got a USB-C at 140, a USB-A at 15, a USB-A at 15, and a USB-C at 100 watts. Okay? And I don't remember exactly what the specs are, so let's look that up, because I was very impressed with what this is capable of. I know that there's an app that you can use with this. I know you can set the charging parameters. I actually have not investigated this. This is just an unboxing, guys. And some thought process behind why I did this. Legal information. Specifications. Page 21. Alright, the battery capacity is 1,024 watt hours, or 20 amp hours. Yeah, 20 amp hours. So that's basically 20% of a 100 amp hour battery. Not bad. It's a LiPo 4 battery. And it weighs about 25.3 pounds. The dimensions are 12.6 inches long and 8.5 inches wide and 9.8 inches high. And part of what's important about that is that I wanted to be able to keep it in a specific place, which happens to be where I've always kept the Jackery, and not have it floating around taking up a whole bunch of room. Charging temperatures have to be between 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 104 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's over 104, don't try and charge it. Discharging temperatures range from -4 degrees up to 104 degrees. Same thing, don't try using it if you're over 104 degrees. Working humidity is 10% to 90%. Says 50 decibel max noise, which, by the way, is not a whole lot quieter than like a Honda or Yamaha inverter generator. Those typically run, gas powered. Those typically run 58 to 62, so that's kind of an interesting thing to keep in mind. AC output, 1800 watts max. And I don't understand, I'm going to have to do some research here, because there's lifting and then there's surge, and I think it's 2700 lift and 3300 surge, and I don't understand that. I'll do some reading and figure it out, and there will probably be a follow-up episode on that once I've used it a little bit, but I just wanted to give you an idea what this is. So here, we're going to press the power button, and we are at 30%. No input, no output. I can hear the fan running. It's not loud or obnoxious, but nothing is happening either, so there's that. So it's pretty. I'll say that. What do you think? I think it's pretty. Do you think it's pretty? Do you think I did a good job buying myself a Christmas present? All right, so that's this one. Now, the other reason that I got this, I'll show you in just a moment. Okay, and just to give you an idea of how this is going to store and carry for me, this, by the way, is the exact same location that the Jackery used to be in. Here, let me walk in front of the camera and show you what the real size difference is between these two. Look at that. How impressive is that? Let me walk in front of the camera again. Sorry. I'm very impressed with that. So this is 200 and, what was it, 40? Yeah, 240 watts for the Jackery, 1800 watts for the Bluetti. And the difference in size is just phenomenal to me. And then if you look just above the Bluetti, at that little black shelf, that's a floating shelf that I installed yesterday because I wanted to get my surge strip with all of my cords up off the ground. And so what's really cool about this whole placement, as far as I'm concerned, is that if I need to be able to use the Bluetti, and I'm gonna practice using it just to make sure that everything works properly, but if I need to be able to use it on a regular basis, all I have to do is unplug my surge strip from its wall socket outlet, and I can plug it directly into the Bluetti, and I'm done. Everything's set up and good to go. So, I hope you found this part useful, and I'm going to flip the camera around again, and we're going to talk about what else I got that really influenced my purchase of this. Alright, if you're sticking around to find out why, this is the real reason I bought the Bluetti. Wait, what? What kind of sense does that make? First of all, what is this, right? I bet you have no idea what this little jar is. Here's the thing. Let's see how I can explain this. If you've been with me for some time, this is not going to come as any surprise to you, I'm sure. But basically, here's the deal. I love high quality food. I go out of my way to make sure that I am getting the best quality, healthiest, most nutritious food that I possibly can. That said, I love bread. I love, love, love bread. I used to bake a lot of bread when I had a house. In fact, when I had an enormous house for quite a while. I baked bread, cookies, pies, cakes, all the stuff. Did a lot of baking. Did it all from scratch. Loved doing it. And because I was eating a lot of pies and cookies and cakes and stuff like that, I was a lot bigger even than I am now, and decided that wasn't a great idea. So I basically cut out all carbs. And then when I hit the road, I go through periods of time where if I can get what I consider to be decent quality sourdough, I will do that periodically. But that's about the only bread that I eat on a regular basis. And I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. It's like, well, why aren't you eating bread? Well, the biggest reason I'm not eating bread anymore is if you read the ingredients on the label, it's industrially processed crap. That's what it is, in my opinion. You may completely disagree. You may say, oh, Dave's Killer Bread is great. No, not really. Read the ingredients list carefully. Do a little research on, and I'm not picking on Dave's, all bread. Wonder Bread is not the Wonder Bread that it was when I was a child. I hated it then. I still hate it. I wouldn't eat it either time. But that's a great example. The label makes it look like it's the same thing. And so I find anything that I buy in a package, I have to periodically check the label again to make sure it hasn't been reformulated in some way that's going to be even worse than the way it was. So, that whole tirade aside, I kept thinking about it in relation to bread. And sourdough really is about the best quality bread nutritionally that you can get, health-wise that you can get, because it's a fermented food. When you start with real sourdough starter, it's probiotics that you're putting into your bread. The more you use, the more probiotics you're injecting, the less bad, because bread in and of itself is not a high-quality food for us, but the less bad it is. And I kept thinking about it. And thinking about it and thinking about it. And my friend Barb, and you've heard her mentioned a lot since we spent all last summer traveling together. Well, she was doing all kinds of experiments while we were traveling. Some of them successful, some less successful. Sourdough bread baking was one of those that was a little bit more iffy for her. And in large part because we were changing elevations and humidities and stuff all the time. And when you're baking bread, all of those conditions make a big difference in how the outcome of your loaf is going to be. And because I am very water conservative, I kept thinking about all of the mess involved in trying to do any kind of bread making. And because I have arthritic hands that have pretty much limited my ability to be able to do a lot of things I used to do, like kneading bread, can't do that for any length of time anymore. I kept thinking about it. And I used to always poo-poo the idea of people that would take the shortcuts and get a bread maker. But I did it, and I'm going to show you. We're going to unbox that one together. So the reason for buying the Bluetti was this little jar of Fleischmann's yeast, which I'm hoping not to use very much of, but I want to have it on hand so that if I want to make bread and I don't have sourdough starter available, I can do this. So there's that. So, why did this fuel the purchase of the Bluetti? It's wintertime, and this is our second very overcast day in a row. We had a bunch of rain yesterday. We've had some today already, and I'm not getting enough power to be able to do all of the things that I want to do. But the bread machine draws a maximum of 550 watts, and I figure if I'm using the Bluetti to maybe do some other things that I would otherwise be doing with my conventional power bank, that leaves more available for the bread machine. So I guess without further ado, let me get that up here on the table and let's unbox that. Oh, wait a minute, before we do that, we gotta say hello to Kit, don't we? We gotta say hello to the Kitster. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I guess I want to say one other thing while I'm on the subject of just appreciating all the stuff that I have and all the people that I have. I'm going to give a shout out to Lisa right now because I saw Lisa come back into camp. She went into town today and she asked if I wanted her to get my mail, and I said, yeah, I do. And she went into town and I kept getting notifications that stuff was coming in, like the Bluetti and the bread machine I'm going to show you in a minute. And so I texted her back, actually several texts in a row, and said, this is here, and this is here, and this is here. Got my mail sent from Livingston, Texas. Got a Christmas present for Kit from a viewer. Thank you, Lonnie, Crafty Traveler. And about after I sent all three texts, then I looked and I saw her pulling back in to her parking space. Didn't see the truck shut off. She sat there for a couple of minutes, and then she drove out of camp again. My friend Lisa went all the way back into town to pick up my Christmas presents for me because the mail service that we both use is not going to be open on Friday or Saturday, and they're normally closed on Sunday and Monday. So they won't be open again until Tuesday, and she wanted me to be able to have my Christmas presents by Christmas. So thank you, Lisa. I truly appreciate it. And this, guys, is what a large part of the nomad life is about. It's, people helping you out without having to be asked and not expecting anything in return. Gotta love it. All right, let me get this box up here so we can get this one unpacked. All right, and I guess you can't see me. Okay, I'm gonna blame this purchase on somebody a friend of mine I used to camp with, and I saw her post on Facebook. She got a completely different brand, but Cindy had been posting all of these breads that she'd been making, and they looked really good, and she said how easy it was, and it was relatively cheap, and yada yada yada, and she was happy with being able to do it like on her own. And it started me in the deep dive mode because I love to investigate stuff, so I kept diving into what did I really want in a bread maker, and I still thought I wasn't going to buy it until I did. So what I settled on was the Cuisinart Compact Automatic Bread Maker. And the reason is, first of all, compact, there's a good word. Automatic, another good word. It does have some pre-programmed settings. I'm not sure about a whole bunch of other stuff yet. We're going to find out as we go. You're going to be seeing a lot of bread videos coming up, I'm sure. Unless I decide it's absolute crap and send it back. But I don't think that's what's going to be happening here. So most people who have a bread machine, they'll set it up so that it will, make bread overnight, and then they get up in the morning and they've got a nice warm loaf of fresh bread. Unless I'm plugged in an RV park, that's never going to happen because I'm not going to run that kind of power overnight, and I don't know how much power it's going to take. That's one of the things that we'll be investigating as we use this and see how that goes. So, I've got the opening right back here. Let's go ahead and get this guy open and see what he looks like. Okay, well this is first off a little bit disconcerting. The note inside, right here on top, says, "Bread maker may smoke a bit the first time you use it. This is normal and common to most electrical products." Okie dokie. So some of the things that I was looking for, and none of these were particularly difficult to find, I don't think, include, I wanted it to have a window to be able to see through. Let's see, how do we get this out of here? Out like this. I'll get underneath of it. Throw the box over there. I wanted a window to be able to see through while it was processing. That was important, but pretty much everyone that I looked at had that feature. So it wasn't something that turned out to be a big deal to be able to find. I wanted one that made more than one size loaf. So this one will make a 1, 1.5, or 2 pound loaf of bread. I imagine I will probably be primarily making the 1 to 1.5 pound loaves. Although my campmates have already told me that they're really excited about this and they want bread. So I might be making a few 2 pound loaves to be able to share with everybody as well. So pretty good looking machine. There's the top view. But look at this. Look how small this really is. And I don't know for sure yet, but I think it's actually going to fit in my appliance garage. And this is the other thing I've been working on. I mean, I know it looks like I'm just acquiring stuff, but the other thing that I've been working on while I've been sitting here camped in Quartzsite is going through all of my stuff and making sure that I am getting rid of anything that really does not serve me anymore. So I found, for example, I've been carrying around a lot of plastic silverware and disposable plates because I thought it was important to have them just in case. I was wrong. So I'm getting rid of all of that stuff. This is the paddle that goes inside, but I can't get the tape to break, so hang on just a sec. Let me grab a knife. So I've actually been getting rid of quite a lot of stuff, and that's good, and it feels good. And I've gone through many of the cabinets for storage so far, and my pantry storage bins and stuff like that, and gotten rid of quite a few things, so I'm very happy about that. Alright, so the way this works is, it's got this bucket in the bottom. I'm not sure which way it turns. Oh, that's which way it turns. So it's got this bucket, non-stick. I'm not 100% thrilled about that, but I couldn't find any that weren't, and this seemed less horrible to me. than some of the other choices. And basically, you set it in, sits on a little bit of an angle, and then you just turn the handle to lock it in place. And then this is the paddle that goes down. That's the kneading paddle. And this is the hook to remove it from the bread if you leave it in while the bread is cooking. And then this just goes on in the bottom. And it is keyed, so I'm trying to do it by feel. I bet I gotta do it right side up. Bet that'll work better. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so one other thing I'll mention. So if you look at the bread bucket, it's going to be rounded on the bottom and it'll be rounded on the top as it rises. And basically, this isn't going to look like a commercial loaf of bread where you have that domed top as you're slicing your bread down the sides. I don't care. What I care about is that I've got control over how it tastes and so forth. And I'm glad I picked that out because, oh, there's some more packing material. So we're going to stick the bucket back in, lock that in place. And we'll drop the little hooky thing back in there. And see if I can get this off of the cord. I hate it when they put tape around the cord that's fairly tight. I'm always concerned about possibly cutting the cord trying to get it off. There we go. Alright, so that's the unboxing portion of this. Now, as I understand it so far, it's kind of cute, isn't it? I like it. And I'll do some more work and figure out if it's actually going to fit in the place that I want it to fit for travel and so forth. I might end up getting some of those cord keepers to attach and be able to wrap my cords around, because one of the things I've noticed in my appliance garage of late is that my cords are kind of all over the place, which I don't love. Alright, we're going to be reading the instructions right here. And it's supposed to come with recipes. Oh yeah, it's got recipes as well. They want you to register your product, yada yada yada. I'm going to read some instructions. I'm going to get the Bluetti charging, and we're going to check back in. Probably not for a couple of days. I think this is going to make this video. So once again, I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm sure I'll see you again before then. And this is not a Christmas video. This is just a, wow, I got myself some stuff near Christmas video. Because that's the way I roll. If I decide I want to go do something, I generally just go do that thing. And if I get really ambitious, I'm going to make a loaf of bread today. Because why not? That's what I'm thinking. Alright, as always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I truly appreciate you taking your time. And if you know about hyping, and you feel like hyping, that would be awesome. If you don't know about hyping, it has something to do with swiping on your phone, which I don't really understand because I never watch YouTube on my phone. Even more important as far as I'm concerned, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.